What's up, good people? What's up? What's going on? Hope everybody had a good day. Yeah, it's Thursday. Tomorrow is summer. It was hot today, y'all. I mean, it was just hot in Tulsa. I was like, yo, I don't know if the devil is like on the sidewalk playing games or what, but it was hot. I hope you guys are drinking plenty of water, not soda, yo. Water. H2O. I hope you guys drinking plenty of water. Let me get some shout outs as you guys come on in. What's up, Crystal? Kogi, what up? Yoli. What's up, Benita? D. Richard, Dotson, Christy, Kiana. Haven't talked to you in a minute. What's up, Shonda? What's going on, Latoya? Everybody else who just joined. Yo, it's hot. Please drink plenty of water. Please. Yo, just be like a water guzzler. Because we don't want people passing out, man. Already got reports of a young lady. She passed out. They found her in Tulsa somewhere. I'm sure you guys saw the Facebook page. They found her. She had passed out from the heat. And yo, it's hot. It's hot out there. I mean, come on, yo. We need to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. Because, you know, we got to live to see Donald Trump out of office. But we got to do right to our bodies, right? So what's up? What's up? Y'all, I'm going to give you guys a warning right now. I am going to try my best not to use profanity. So I'm going to point out Benita. Benita, I'm not going to use profanity tonight. I'm going to try my best, Benita, not to cuss. But Benita, my spirit is vexed. So for those of y'all who don't, look, I may just say a choice words tonight. So I'm just putting it out there right now. What's up, Miss Smith? Everyone else who just joined. What's up, Bert? All right, guys, do me a favor. Share this video. Let's talk about it. Let's get right into this. I'm glad you guys have joined. Tulsa. You know, I like to do some local news here. Tulsa. Tulsa got a dude on the run right now. There's a guy on the run. Let's bring him up right now. Let's bring him up right here. It says Tulsa homicide shooting suspect is on probation for kidnapping out of GPS monitoring compliance in pending Tulsa County kidnapping case. Let me tell you what went down with this dude. All right. I'm going to read the story to you. It is crazy. This guy turns around. Let me just put me and him, not like really us side by side. But anyway, let me just put this joint up here. All right. This guy turns around. Let me just read a little bit of this. Okay. Because he didn't kill not one person. He killed two people. He's been on a run. He killed two people. He killed one person on Tuesday and shot another person on Wednesday, back to back. Yes, he did. So he was ordered to wear a GPS monitoring system when he went to court. See, he went to court. I'm not telling you all of the story because you're going to have to go read it for yourself. But he went to court and he is an ex-con, spent 20 years. He was on kidnapping charges out in Wagner County. And I think the victim didn't want to see him go back to prison. So they kind of just put him on probation. He was on a 10-year probation and he was supposed to go back in court. He failed his P test. He also, something happened to his GPS. The judge did not even just say, hey, go back to jail. The judge gave him 2 weeks to figure this out. 2 weeks. And in the 2 weeks, he was supposed to come back. He came back and then, the 2 weeks, he never came back. They sent out a bench warrant for him. They couldn't find him. They said it's like finding a needle in a haystack. So this guy is on the run with his girlfriend. Let me bring up, or some chick that is rolling with him. He is listed as armed and dangerous. The girl they're also looking for, her name is Nicole William Stitzel. She is his accomplice. So apparently he was shot during the last exchange that we know of. So I wanted everybody to know, get a look at that picture. Make sure if you guys have some friends and some family members that may know this guy, his name is, let me give you his proper name just in case you guys know of him. He's out of Inola. He's 42 years old. His name is Barton Roy Van. He is listed as armed and dangerous. He's already shot and killed 2 people. They can't find him. So he's probably long gone from the Tulsa area, but they can't find him. So I just wanted to kind of bring this out to you guys. If the court would have done exactly what they were supposed to have done, you had a kidnapping case, armed and dangerous. He failed his P test. Most of us who look like me would have been back in jail, right? But no, that's not what happened to him. They gave him 2 weeks to figure out his stuff. He got 2 weeks to figure out his stuff. And then what happened? He didn't show back up. They said he had GPS monitoring issues going on. They were thinking that he was letting the battery go down. But I don't understand how I got that far. I mean, let's just be frank. I'm like, how did it get to a point where, you know, as a judge, you allowed this to happen and gave him 2 weeks to go think about it? Go think about what? Think about not doing drugs again? Mind you, he was in prison for distribution and also having drugs, you know, being a user as well. So if you know you have this history, why is this judge allowing this person who's failed their P test and was able, he had a $60,000 bond. They gave him a GPS, told him, peace, come right back. He came back in April. All of a sudden, he failed his P test. They should have sent him right then and there, because most of us would have gone right back. But I'm pointing out this situation to show you the mishaps of the judicial system. If the judicial system would have done their job, and if the judge at this time, you can read the story, it's on Tulsa World, if the judge at this time would have revoked this man's bond and sent his butt right back to prison, he wouldn't have not only just killed one person, he would have killed 2 people. He wouldn't have killed 2 people. But because of the mishaps of the judicial system in this situation, he killed 2 people. Now, I'm pretty sure that other people would sit back and turn around and say, well, how did we supposed to know, Mark? How did we know that this dude was going to go out and kill somebody else? You have a person who was armed and dangerous. You have a person who was at a kidnapping. You have all of these profiles to show that this person is violent, right? And then he fails a P test, and then you still don't reprimand him back into prison. And come on, yo. I mean, how many more chances do you need to get? This is the failure right now. This is the failure of the judicial system. And I know every one of those judges sitting there like, damn, I shouldn't have did that. Right? If they would have sent his ass back to prison or jail, wouldn't have been that problem. But somehow he got lucky. And since he got lucky, he went and killed 2 people. So the blood is on, in my opinion, the blood is on the judge's hands by not sending this clown back, because this dude he was dangerous at the time. And he got a 10-year probation on this kidnapping. 10 years of probation? I can't, y'all. I can't. All right, let me go on to my next story right here before I get to getting upset. So I'm good. I'm going to hold it together, Benita. Okay. I see some of you guys came on. What's up? Del Monte, what's up? What's up, cuz? Got April, my cousin, on here. Y'all, you know who this guy is. He's the mayor of Tulsa County. You know who he is. Mayor of Tulsa County. Not going to throw any shade. Probably watching me already. So the mayor, here's the headlines. It says the mayor stands by his Office of Independent Monitoring to review police use of force. So instead of me going all into this dissertation about what this is, a use of force. The use of force is the Office of Independent Monitoring. What typically happens is that when a use of force, because we know historically that uses of force, higher uses of force, will lead to officer-related shootings. So if you stop it on the bottom end, the use of force, if your use of force is down, then we would have less officer-related shootings. So it's a smart move. We can get that part, right? Typically what happens when there's a use of force issue, there is a situation that comes around where the president, there's a situation come around that if there's a use of force issue, it goes to the Internal Affairs Department, Internal Affairs. That's in-house, right? The Internal Affairs do everything they want to do. And then they say, we've investigated ourselves and we found that ourselves are what? Not guilty or not innocent. I mean, innocent. We found ourselves to be that way. So here we have the mayor wanting to open up the Office of Independent Monitoring. And this is supposed to be an independent group of people who have accessibility to information such as the use of force, such as investigative information. So this particular group, I don't know everything in detail, but this particular group, the concept is they're going to have this information. Now, a couple of city council people have decided and have suggested that, hey, it's going to cost a lot, so why don't we just get the OSBI to do their investigation, the special officer related shootings, and also use of force, right? So if that occurs, then they have to pay out. I think the report says they have to pay at least $100,000. So the mayor technically still wants to have this use of force, this Office of Independent Monitoring. When this came out, I was like, okay, 2 claps, boom, boom. You get that. They interviewed me and they asked me about it, how I felt. I was like, damn bar is so low. So any little thing is better than nothing. See, this is where we are, right? And see, so the Office of Independent Monitoring is like, okay, well, that's good, but will they have subpoena power? Will they have actually subpoena power? What is subpoena power? Meaning to have the power to go to the courts and get exactly as much testimony, documentations, and all those different things. Chicago, a couple of major areas, they have these investigative monitoring that separates themselves along from the police department, and they're able to have subpoena power. So is really this group going to be that effective when they have no subpoena power? That's the question I have. Okay. Unless they're going to have subpoena power, unless they're going to be able to look at this information in lieu of a chief of police saying, we don't want you to have it. Or the mayor saying, we don't want you to have it. Okay. Are they going to look at it? So I got some thinking to do, right? And I started thinking and I was like, is this like slapping lipstick on a pig? Right? Because it's still a pig. Right? It's still a pig. So if we put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. If we say, hey guys, we're going to have an Office of Independent Monitoring, I guess that's okay, right? So the chatterbox is that, oh, the mayor is really caring about what's happening because something is better than nothing, right? Right? That's what all of us think, because our bar is so low that we actually think that the mayor is doing something miraculous. And I think this is awesome, so we should get behind this. Okay. I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I make that analogy a lot. The reason I'm saying is because we can have something, but we can also perfect something else, right? Several times, and I've visited the mayor a bunch of times before, when he became mayor. And I explained to him, I said, Mayor Bynum, real talk, nothing's going to happen in this city until you change policies. Told him that straight up. He said to me, took out his green pen. I'm not lying to you. Took out his green pen, started writing down stuff. Started writing everything down. Yes, his pen is green. Green Sharpie. Started writing down stuff. And I was like, yo, I looked to my other person that was there. I looked to turn. I was like, this is fruitless. Because unless you change the policies, ain't nothing going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. The policies is what the police live by. That is their Bible, their biblios, whatever you want to call it. That's what they live by. Ain't nothing going to happen. I don't care if you put a monitoring group together. I don't care if you put all of these slap lipstick on it to have the illusion that we're actually trying to solve a problem. You're not. Why aren't you? Because this is what I told the mayor. You got to get rid of the 72-hour hold. Mark Lewis, what is the 72-hour hold? He didn't ask me that because he knew what it was. I'm telling you what the 72-hour hold was. There's a 72-hour hold. If an officer shoots a person, they have up to 72 hours before they can actually give their statement. That's right. They have up to 72 hours. That's 3 days before they give their statement. I don't know if it's actually 3 working days or 3 non-working days or just 3 calendar days. I'm not sure. It's 3 days. They have 3 days to give their statement. Now, let me ask you a question. If you go out here and you shoot a person, do you have 3 days to give a statement? Let me ask just another question. If you as a citizen went out and possibly somebody turned around and said you stole $500 worth of computer equipment, do you have 72 hours to come into the office and give a statement? No, you don't. But police have 72 hours. That is a huge problem. Dallas has gotten rid of that. Chicago has gotten rid of that. A lot of major cities have gotten rid of the 72-hour hold. They've changed their policy. Has Tulsa done that? Hell no. Hasn't done it. See, this is where I'm talking about slapping lipstick on a pig, right? Because it's a policy. Here's another policy change. When an officer shoots a person, are they drug tested? No, they're not. Are they succumb to any blood and alcohol testing? No, they're not. Let's say you shoot somebody. I'm pretty sure, as a matter of fact, you have to even give up DNA now at the county courthouse. At the county office. When you're arrested, you have to give up your DNA. And they may say that you may have been intoxicated. They may take your toxicology examination. They may take your blood. But does an officer get that same treatment? No, they don't. So we have no mandatory blood and alcohol testing that may or may not have impaired an officer to do what? To pull a trigger. Nothing. We have nothing that mandatories on a policy that says you must do this. Think about this. If you drive for, let's use a company called Walmart. If you drive for Walmart and you get in any damn accident, let's just say just a little fender bender. Do you know that Walmart is going to make you go and take a blood test or a pee test or make sure that you are not inebriated or something of that nature? Did you know that? So you have private companies and you as an individual have to succumb to some form of testing to prove that you were not impaired. But a police officer can use their gun and shoot a person dead in the streets, plain as day, and not have to succumb to any mandatory, when I say mandatory, blood and alcohol examination. None. So that's another policy change. We're slapping lipstick on a pig if we're not really dealing with the problem, right? Here's another thing. Is there any mandatory psychological evaluations? No, it's not. There's no mandatory psychological evaluations. That's not even in the policies. There's no mandatory. See, this is the thing that I'm trying to get us to understand. We have to step a little bit above, just raise our consciousness just a little bit above and stop getting comfortable with someone acting as if they're trying to do stuff when they're actually not really trying to do a lot of things. They're only trying to do stuff. Hell, you see it all the time. You don't like this? Okay, we're going to start this committee. You don't like this? We're going to start this committee. And what it is a pacifying. We're pacifying. We're not really changing the situation. I've told Mayor Bynum this to his face. I have given him a list of policies that needs to be changed. Since 2014, ain't no policy has changed the policies that I'm talking about. Here's another policy. We learned this during Betty Shelby, 2016. Betty Shelby, not even just Betty Shelby, any police officer in Tulsa if they are accused when they're giving their statement, they actually can see the evidence mounted against them first before they give their statement. Okay, let me break this down. She said, you stole a TV. You walk in, you say, I want to see the evidence. They show you the camera footage. Now you're like, that ain't even me on the television. See how that works? Right? But you and I are not afforded that. We cannot look at a discovery. We cannot look at the evidence. We cannot look anything. All we hear is, this is what they said. This is the probable cause. This is what they said. You have to give your statement. Police officers can turn around and look at the footage that is prepared, that they're being accused of before they give their statement. Is that policy changing? See, this is why I'm saying, miss me with that BS, with all of these groups and with all of this stuff. And I understand who you're going to put on these panels and someone who's going to be not like me. Trust me. I understand that. I get that. I get that you want to get people who are not going to push you. I get that you want to get people who are not going to ask these important questions. I get that you want to get people who want to stay in the box. But at the end of the day, are we looking for change, or are we looking for the appearance of change? What are we looking for? Because I would definitely need to know that. Because I have given 4 examples of policies that needs to change. You know what the pushback was? Well, it's the bargaining agreement with the FOP. It's the bargaining agreement with the FOP. See, that was the pushback. And you keep hearing that. That's what ends up happening. So anyway, I'm just asking the question. If we have an Office of Independent Monitoring, which is going to cause an additional amount of money in the budget, if we have said Office of Independent Monitoring, are we going to look to change the policies? That's what I want to know. Because we're looking at the use of force. We're looking at how this officer responds. We're looking at how this officer has used whatever type of force. If it's, blunt force, if it's trigger from tasers, what was the cause, what was the effect, and all those different things. But if we're not making sure this particular officer who used whatever force is not impaired by something, or has not been able, can we erase the 72 hours? I mean, how hard is that to say this is done? So let me give you guys a little, I would say, feedback. Only people who are listening. Tulsa City Government Council, if you really want to make a change, you can pass ordinances. You can still have your independent monitoring, but you can create an ordinance of changing these policies from the ordinance. You can pass a city ordinance that says if an officer fires a gun, they must succumb to what? A blood and alcohol test. You can pass a city ordinance for that. You don't need an independent monitoring for that. See, this is why I keep saying, and hats off to the people who are trying. I don't want people to go away and say, oh, Mark Lewis is just trying. Here again, he's been negative. And I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just saying, do you really want change? Or are you just wanting the appearance of change? Because the appearance of change is what we've been dealing with for the last 5 to 6 years. And on. That's the appearance of change. But if we really want change, we have to look at the policies. Because I guarantee you this, police officer get in trouble, they're going to turn around and say, well, that's our policy. How do I know? Betty Shelby used it. She used it in court. She said, I looked at the evidence. I looked at the film before I gave my testimony. So all of us are gasping. How is it that she can get a chance to look at the evidence before she gives her statement? She can, because that's a Tulsa police policy. That's a Tulsa police policy. So are we really serious? See, this is why I want to raise the consciousness of us all to understand all of the lipstick parts. To me, that's BS. When are we going to take out our green pen and sign? The mayor himself right now can sign an executive order changing all this stuff. He has the power to do so. The mayor himself can do that. He probably don't want to. He probably will lose his endorsement with the FOP, but the mayor himself can do that. So are we really serious about the change, or are we just putting lipstick on the damn pig? That's all I want to know. So do me a favor, take this how you want to take it, but ask yourself this question. How is it an officer can gun down someone in the middle of the street? How is it that an officer can gun down someone in the middle of the street and not have to succumb to blood and alcohol testing? How is it an officer can gun down someone in the middle of broad daylight or in the middle of the street and go home for 2 weeks on a 2-week vacation and come back and still go back on their job without having any form of psychological? I don't care if they're justified or not. How can you do that? And then you want to know why these officers are so hard, why their lives are so difficult. Are they even actually getting any form of help up here? Are they actually really talking to someone about this? Is there something mandatory before you actually you put that officer back on the street? You're putting broken officers on the streets. To me, this is my opinion, this is my words. You're putting broken officers on the streets. So broken officers will turn around and do all it. What can you do? You can do a lot. You can call for these policy changes. That's what you can do. You can call for the policy changes. All of these things are just lipstick. The whole Office of Independent Monitoring, the mayor's, the chief of police's group that he has, the Citizen Advisory Board, all that mess that's lipstick on a pig until you change the policies. The policies have to be changed. And that's all I'm going to say about that. The policies got to be changed. And if you're not willing to change the policies, all of this stuff is just a moot point. And I want you guys to really, truly understand that, because at the end of the day, their policies are their Bible, and they will always go through their policies. And if you don't understand that, then I think we all are in trouble. But you must understand, don't look at someone who says, I have a nice smile, but I'm trying to help you. No, put your power to the pen. You have the executive privilege, put your power to the pen. The city council, I'm not sitting up here calling out independent each and every person. I'm saying as a collective, you guys can pass city ordinances to change policies. It may not go with the FOP, but you still can pass a city ordinance. So you guys are probably trying to figure out, how does this work? Well, the mayor is over the Tulsa Police Department. Tulsa Police. That's a part of the city charter. If you guys are interested in reading about the city charter, please go to the City of Tulsa's website. I'm trying to educate you guys. The mayor is over the city. The mayor is over the police department. This is how it works. The mayor is over the police department. The city council is like the legislators. They write the check. They write the check of the budgets, but they also control the whole entire city. So what happens in this city affects them completely. So they may not be able to fire anybody that's on the force. They may not be able to reprimand anyone on the force, but they can sure as hell pass a city ordinance that can levy fines and fees towards these particular officers if they do not do what's necessary to be done. Let me go to one of your statements here. Del Monte, you said, so she can dispute the evidence and get away with the case. That's sad, man. Yes, it is. It's very sad. Officers can dispute it, because if you look at your evidence before you actually give your statement, it also changes your mind. But here, this is how officers get us. They would turn around and say, hey, we have this, and they lie. It's okay for them to lie. Remember, that's a whole nother story. They can lie. They can say, this is what they said. They can play one person against another person. They can say, this person did this person did that, and they're lying. But then they turn around, and now you got to give your statement. So do you see how all of this confusion works? Do you see how all of this works to benefit the whole justice system? You have one lie on top of another lie so that they can go ahead and get a case built so they can hand it over to the district attorney. The district attorney uses that information and calls those police as sometimes witnesses to whatever the situation may be. They present this in front of a judge. Whether you go to a trial or you don't go to a trial, they have all this insurmountable evidence up against you. 9 times out of 10, you end up making a plea deal. That's what typically happens. And then that's what happens to a lot of our black and brown people who are in prison to this day. It works just like that. And now, I know I'm leaving out a lot of details, but I'm giving you just a overview on how this stuff is working. So if we can stop this mess on the low end from the police department and having them be accountable, then we can stop it from going into and filling up our prisons. That's the way I look at this stuff. Okay. All right. Let me go into my next subject. Okay. I know y'all have heard enough about policing and all that. All right. This man right here, your president, this guy today he wants war, y'all. Donald Trump wants war. He just wants war. Let me just play this story for you guys, and we can go from here. All right, here we go.
Drone early this morning, but President Trump is not saying if or when the United States will respond to this. Iran says its Revolutionary Guard shot down the drone, an RQ-4 Global Hawk like this one, after it violated Iranian airspace. But military officials say the unmanned plane was in international airspace in the Strait of Hormuz. During an Oval Office meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, President Trump put Iran on notice.
Iran made a big mistake. This drone was in international waters, clearly.
The president said there is documented evidence of the attack, but he did not tip his hand about how the U.S. will respond to the latest provocation.
It was a very foolish move. That I can tell you.
Tension is escalating between the two countries. Last week, the U.S. blamed Iran for attacks on 2 oil tankers. The Pentagon claims this video shows an Iranian patrol boat and member of the Revolutionary Guard removing an unexploded mine attached to the hull of one of the damaged ships.
This attack is an attempt to disrupt our ability to monitor the area following recent threats to international shipping and the free flow of commerce.
There is concern any miscalculation in the region could push the two countries into an open conflict. President Trump has been criticized for pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the U.S. must work with its allies to confront Iran.
However we go forward, we have to recognize that working together with our allies is very, very important.
The U.S. has deployed an aircraft carrier and about 1,000 additional troops to the region. Now, congressional leaders were invited to the White House for a briefing this afternoon, and a closed-door meeting with intelligence officials was also held on Capitol Hill earlier today.
All right, y'all. So since that video, the backup of this video, so since all that went down, let me tell y'all something. Donald Trump has now authorized the military to attack Iran before strike suddenly was called off. Trump reportedly orders the military to attack Iran before strikes suddenly called off. It says, let me put it up here. It says, President Donald Trump authorized the U.S. military strikes against Iran on Thursday, but officials abruptly pulled back from carrying them out just hours later. This is what the New York Times has said. Ladies and gentlemen, we were warned. Everyone had warned us. Secretary Clinton has warned us. We were warned that Donald Trump is not a stable guy. I don't have to lay out the litany of stuff that's happened over the last 2 years. Donald Trump is a fool. Now you have a fool with nuclear codes. You have a fool who also is a devil and also wants to turn around and use whatever power that he has to show. So he wants to be hard, right? He wants to be hard. He already sent 1,000 troops. 1,000 troops are already automatically going to the Middle East. 1,000 troops. This is not Syria. Donald Trump needs to understand this. This is Iran. These folks are not afraid to die. How you going to kill something that ain't afraid to die? That's like a zombie. Iran, I'm not sitting up here trying to protect Iran. What I'm trying to say is that, and just like Speaker Pelosi said, we need to diplomatically deal with this situation. There was some talk last night, over throughout the night, Iran shot down the U.S. drone. This is what started this whole, what started the tension was really the attacks on the ship. Donald Trump felt like it was projectile missiles. Japanese said, no, it was not. Now we have the U.S. drone. U.S. drone is saying it was in international airspace. Iran is saying, no, it was in our airspace, and they have the right to shoot down a drone. This is where we are. So it's this tit for tat. And then you got size matching up against size. And Iran is not going to back down. They're not a weak country. They're not a poor country. They're a different type of country than Iraq, than Syria, than all of these countries that you think that are babies. Iran is not that type of country. So John Bolton, which he advises Donald Trump, he really needs to understand that. And I think they know it. But there's politics that goes along with this. If I can distract my American people for war, I look like a hero. Donald Trump wants to look like a decorated hero. He didn't go to war. He didn't go to the military. He wants to look like a decorated hero. So this is his opportunity. So we don't know what's going to play out. All I'm telling you is that they're going to do something. And whatever they're going to do, it ain't going to be good. And I am hoping that people will really truly understand, like Kiana said, we don't want no smoke. These people they're not small. These people will create, and they have arsenals of nuclear war. Shonda, you said what started tensions was Trump rattling off. Yes, it did. Since the Iran nuclear deal, I remember that. Yes. All right, guys, let me go into my last subject, and then I will promise you I will let you go. I promise you I'll let you go. I'm going to talk about this here. Joe Biden. Joe Biden made some comments, and the comments he made, he was referring to some segregationists who looked at Joe Biden and never called him boy. This is what Biden said. And that he was trying to prove that he can work across the aisle to get stuff done. Okay? Well, that flap caused him a lot of blowback. A whole lot of blowback. As you know, and you've known Joe Biden, he is a man that will always take some gaffes. He will always keep putting his foot in his mouth. I like Joe Biden, but I also think that Joe Biden is a very privileged guy who has inherited a form of populism through the black president. So, since he made those cuff remarks, he also doubled down on it. They asked him to apologize. Let me play this video. He was like, for what? Basically, he doesn't really want to apologize at all. So let me play this video right here. Here we go. Will it play? Where is it? Okay, here we go.
Agree. You don't have to like the people in terms of their views, but you just simply make the case and you beat them. You beat them without changing the system.
How does it feel that your Democratic rivals are implicitly saying you have issues talking about race?
They know better.
Are you going to apologize? Like Cory Booker
Apologize for what?
Cory Booker's called for it.
Cory should apologize. He knows better. There's not a racist bone in my body. I've been involved in civil rights my whole career. Period. Period. Period.
Okay, so when a person says that there's not a racist bone in their body, that is to me a severe red flag. Okay, because we know that Joe Biden has been instrumental back in the 70s making the busing. He mocked the busing. Even in the 90s, he talked in reference to about the mass incarceration. Come on now. So Joe Biden is giving praise to some segregationists, which is horrific. Segregationist is a person who believes in the power of Jim Crow, believes in the power that you and I who are white are not equal, believes that interracial marriages is not happening. Now, here's the crazy part. This is what I'm talking about. He didn't even really think in terms about the fact that he served under the America's first black president. That could not have happened if he was friends. That could not have happened if they got in their way. How do you pride someone that's a segregationist? How do you do that in this tumultuous time? So Fox and everybody is pouncing on this. And people are like, oh, they're Democrats, leave them alone. No, you have to be accountable for your words. He shouldn't have never said that. He needs to offer an apology. He needs to understand that his words have power. And when he goes out here and he speaks in this tone, he is okaying segregationists to let people know, hey, I'm with you. No, you should not be with segregationists. And so when someone turns around and says, you know, Vice President Biden, do you feel like you're wrong? No, I don't feel like I'm wrong. Yes, you were wrong. You were absolutely wrong. Whether you meant one thing or it was taken out of context, say that. But you were emphatically wrong. How in the hell can we sit back and act as if this country has just been just open and so peaceful and loving to people of color? How? How in the world can we sit back and say this? Now we benefit from all of these people, our leaders, King, Martin, all these people dying. Sojourner Truth. We have their legacy that we stand on, and then these people come back and act as if, well, yeah, that was okay. No, it wasn't okay. We couldn't even drink from the same damn water fountain. Okay? And just because we had a black president, as Mitch McConnell said, that we don't need reparations because we had a black president. Are you serious right now? Are you serious? Because people were talking in terms of reparations. We're talking about repayment for what you have done to black people, not just from slavery to Jim Crow. Come on, y'all. It kills me. It emphatically kills me when people of color starts to talk in terms, not just people of color, black folks. Because it ain't just people of color. It's black folks. When black folks start talking in terms of you owe us, because our ancestors built this country. Our ancestors, my black and brown grandparents built this country. So you can't talk about no form of patriotism. Then we can talk in terms of the black race, the Africans who came over here unwillingly, some jumped in the ocean, came under here unwillingly, did not get paid a damn dime for being out there all day long picking cotton and taking the cotton to the white master. The white master turns around and makes all this money, and they give you nothing. They give you chicken slops. We invented stuff because we were not giving the equal. We were not given the equal. Every damn thing black people had to do was to fight. Every damn thing. They didn't give us nothing. So for people to turn around and say, oh, we gave you this, we gave you that. Shut up. You didn't give us nothing. We had to earn everything. We had to earn everything. And we lost our leaders by trying to make at least some form of nominal gain. We lost our leaders. So all this whole talk in reference to we don't want reparations. Let's just be real, y'all. Let's go to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We know what's going to happen. Let's go back to slapping the lipstick on the pig. We got all these kumbaya moments. We got all these moments where we're sitting back and saying, oh, yes, this was so hard that happened. Damn right it was hard. It was a massacre. You knew it was hard. But you know what you didn't do? You didn't put money back into the descendants. Don't tell me how much you're sorry until you start writing a check. And don't tell me how sorry you are until you start writing a check to those descendants who lost everything in Black Wall Street. So all this kumbaya stuff that what people are doing and we're coming together, write a check. Write a check to the descendants who's lost lives and who lost their homes, who lost all those different things. Write a check. How about that? So instead of all of us say, we're coming up on this anniversary, we want to make sure that everything is okay. No, write a check. Bring equalization, because you know that once black people get power in their hand, that is the number one equalization in America. You know that fuels economic empowerment. You know that. But you won't do it. How many descendants of 21 in 1921, how many descendants right now are still living? Or the survivors right now who are still living? We don't have a lot of survivors, if any, still. Write a check, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Write a check, Oklahoma. Write a check to those descendants. Don't sit there and tell me that you care by turning around and having these ceremonies. That doesn't do anything. See, let me tell you something. Black folks, we got to stop being comfortable with emotionalism. We want to be emotional. We emotional with our family and our friends, but we don't need the people in power to be emotional for us. We don't want you to care. We want you to write a check. Write a check to those descendants. That's what I'm saying. You want to show how powerful you are? Write a check. Make it equalization. And reparations is something, it ain't like it's some new phase that we are just thinking about. Are you serious right now? Let me just seriously bring up four instances that the United States wrote a check. Let's go. The Japanese internment, the forced internment of 120,000 Japanese Americans in camps during World War II resulted in about $3.1 billion in property loss and $6.4 billion in income loss in 2014. If you account for the possibility that the money might have been invested and gotten above inflation returns, the economic loss was even larger. Congress made 2 attempts at reparations. So all these people right now, all you guys, y'all talking, y'all chattering. Oh, I can't believe that the darkies are wanting reparations. You damn right. You damn right. Okay? You right. So look, the Congress, let's read it. Congress has made 2 attempts at reparations for the Japanese American Claims Act in 1948 and the Civil Liberties Act of 1988. Between 1948 and 1965, the former authorized payments totaling $38 million, which comes to somewhere between $286 million to $374 million in 2014, which didn't come to the matching the economic loss. The latter offered survivors $20,000 each in reparations. By 1998, 80,000 survivors had collected their share for a total payout of $1.6 billion, between $2.3 billion and $3.2 billion today. There is no accounting by which either measure adequately repaid interference for the economic loss, left alone for compensation. Japanese Americans, okay? Japanese Americans. Let me show you another one. Forced sterilization. Force, meaning that you didn't have a choice. You were forced to be sterilized. Most American states practice one or another form of eugenics during the 20th century, with forced sterilization of unfit people being a prime instrument. The targets were largely, but no means entirely, mentally or developmentally disabled poor Black women on welfare were especially likely to be victimized in this manner. The Supreme Court gave the practice a green light, y'all. The Supreme Court gave a practice in 1927, Buck versus Bell, and eventually 33 states adopted this practice, forcibly sterilizing about 65,000 people through 1970s. Oregon forcibly sterilized people as late as 1981, and its Board of Eugenics, renamed the Board of Social Protection in 1967, was abolished in 1983. So let's talk about the money. Very few states have acknowledged or apologized for these policies. Only one, North Carolina, has set up a reparation program. The state sterilized about 7,600 people, most of whom are no longer living. But last year, they passed a $10 million reparation program that should be given to more than 177 living individuals. Somewhere between they're going to get at least a check of $50,000. That's forced sterilization. Force. A check was written. Okay, let's talk about Tuskegee experiment. All right, the Tuskegee experiment. Everyone knows about Tuskegee experiment. After the end of the Tuskegee experiment, which was 399 Black men that had syphilis, were left untreated to study the progression of the disease between 1932 to 1972. The government reached a $10 million out-of-court settlement with the victims and their family in 1974, which included both monetary reparations in 2014, $178,000 for men who had syphilis, $72,000 for their heirs, $77,000 for those in the control group, and $24,000 for their heirs in the control group. Now, that's the Tuskegee experiment. A check was written. Rosewood. You know about Rosewood, 1923, 2 years after Black Wall Street. The primary black-owned Rosewood on the Gulf Coast of Florida was destroyed on a race riot. I call it a massacre. The official count killed at least 6 black residents and 2 whites. It was more people than that, y'all. So let's get to the money. In 1994, the state of Florida agreed that a reparation package worth about $3.36 million in 2014, of which $2.4 million today, would be set aside to compensate the 11 or so remaining survivors of the incident. $800,000 to compensate those who were forced to flee their town, and $160,000 will go to college scholarships primarily aimed at descendants. So, what did Tulsa get? Let me hear you. They got a letter. They got a thank you. That's what they got. But we having all these kumbaya come to Jesus meetings. We coming on the centennial anniversary. We coming on all these different things. But y'all ain't wrote no check. Y'all not equalizing. You're not repaying what you've done. So, real talk. Write these people a check. The city council should be taken up on a reparations right now, talking about the descendants of 1921. The city council of Tulsa. You want to right a wrong by monetary payment. You know what's so funny? If you have done something wrong and you get arrested or whatever, you have a thing called restitution, meaning that you have to pay back what you have done, the damages and all those different things. How come there's no restitution? Restitution. $0 have come into the hands of these people of descendants of Black Wall Street. So to me, miss me with all this kumbaya moment. Miss me with all that. Miss me. I ain't got time for it. Because until you know how to right a wrong, and you right a wrong right now with a check, if you don't even know right now what has happened to Black Wall Street, do yourself a favor and go and study. Matter of fact, if you live in Tulsa, go down to Greenwood and go look at some of those artifacts. Go look at some of those pictures up there. Go sit back and look at the plaque to show all those descendants who never received a dime. Do yourself a favor of that. Educate yourself. Be historical. Educate yourself. So when we're talking about the mayors and we're talking about the city council, we're talking about the state government, why is the state government not willing to write a check to the descendants of what happened to Black Wall Street? That's a big ass question mark. Why haven't you? And why aren't you? That's what I want to know. Yes, do the other stuff that you've been doing, but why can't you put money into their hands? You know you were wrong. It took Kathy Taylor to actually publicly acknowledge, I'm sorry. Okay. I am so serious, y'all. I am so serious. Now, as far as the national form of reparations, I don't even know how that should go. But I know something needs to happen. I don't necessarily know as far as the national, how that should be divided. But I can definitely tell you some equalization needs to happen. You know why I say that? Because I can't go walk into a bank and say, can I get a $100,000 business loan? Like my partner can. I can't go do that. So when we start talking about equality, a lot of stuff is still not equal today. We've already talked about the sentence disparities. A lot of stuff is just not equal. So miss me with all this stuff that people were talking about. The darkies are asking for this. The black folks are asking for this. We ain't asking, you demanding. You know that you did wrong. And it's not just for slavery, also for Jim Crow. I mean, how devilish do you think in your mind to enslave people, to bring people to have free labor? I mean, what in the mental state, I'm trying my best not to cuss, what in the mental state do you have to be to think that you are going to treat human beings like they're animals? Matter of fact, you treat them better than your animals because your animals had beds. Your animals didn't have to sleep outside. You treated the humans of Africa like they were dirt under your feet. And then you had the nerve to sleep with them and turned around and spit at them and raped them and had the nerve to say that, you know what? I want you to nurse my baby. I want you, black girl, because you was a girl, you never was a woman, black girl, to nurse my child. But I can't eat your food. But not only the slavery part, let's talk about the Jim Crow part. So we can't just go slavery, because after slavery, yeah, there's Reconstruction, but are you serious? They're still with Jim Crow. So come on, y'all. Let's stop all the bullshit, because that's what it is. It's bullshit. I'm sick of this. Y'all should be sick of this. There should be equalization of money transferred to people of descendants of slave. How that looks, I don't know. But as far as locally is concerned, the Tulsa City Council should be ready to vote for a form of reparations package. I don't want to hear about another damn park. I don't want to hear about another damn road. I don't want to hear about another a raise. I don't want to hear about nothing until you write the descendants of what happened to 1921, the descendants of the massacre, a check. Then we can talk. But until then, that's bullshit. That's all I got to say, y'all. God bless. Hope you got something from this. If not, sorry. Peace out. I'll holla. See y'all next week.